All right, there were some groovy things in that last example. I want to break them down for you. I think the biggest cool lick that I used in that last one was using a diminished chord instead of a dominant chord. It's not really a substitution, it's just kind of a voicing. So if we're in C minor and we're going to go to F minor, we might eventually use that C7 to lead to F minor. C7, probably flat 9. Now C7 flat 9 spells a diminished chord, so in a lot of cases, if you just play your guide tone, C7, flat 9 and 5th, you got a diminished chord voicing. And that diminished chord repeats. Right? Because diminished chords are made of all minor thirds, and it's a parallel chord, symmetrical movement, and blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is, it's a parallel movement. So I could go C minor, G7, C minor. Now C7, right? And that's a very common sound. C7, using all diminished chord voicings, resolving to F minor. I could use the same principle and make G7 flat 9 and go back to C minor. So you'll see that a few times in that last playing example. The other thing that I've used a bunch, and I should mention, is the idea of octaves when you're comping. You know, there was some real intellectual pedagogue once who wrote this whole 17-page treatise on the one-note voicing. And it was really just kind of, sometimes you're playing along and your fingers don't land right and you just play one note. Well, Freddie Green sometimes would just end up playing one note. And sometimes that one note became just an octave. That line can really fill out an ensemble. So don't be afraid just to play one line, one note, just to make your chord voicings connect. So if I'm going C minor, C7, F minor, I could go, but is fine. And the fact is, it's clean, there's less harmony. Sometimes even start thinking like you're just a little horn section. That's a great comping line. You hear Wes, Grant Green, Pat Martino do those kinds of octave horn section lines behind a solo, and it just sounds fat. You're not getting anybody's way. You're adding some inspiration to the mix. You're adding a part. It can be funky. So practice those octaves. Usually just up the blues scale and fill out those chord progressions that way.